No, I think I would not be shocked if you see in 5 years, I will say the next consoles that come out after this last set, you see Sega be like, here we go. Just drop their big fat right there.
The Sega Neptune.
Nick, if Sega came out with a new console, I would get Sega tattooed on my ass. That's never happening.
Sega, I know you don't listen to this, but please, just for the sake of this happening.
Welcome to the Spindash Retro Gaming Podcast. Prepare yourself for the joy of classic gaming, fired straight into your delicate little ear holes. Fire away.
I love how your name is Yakuza J.
It's wonderful.
Never. I don't know if you're a triad or not.
I don't even know the Japanese gangs. I know the Yakuza. Triad I don't know anything about.
That's Chinese.
That's Chinese?
Russia. Yeah. Oh, man. Japanese is Yakuza. Yeah.
Did you guys hear about the nurse in Japan that the Yakuza put a hit on? I guess it's like Yakuza boss went and had like a penis enhancement surgery and something got botched up and like his dick was hurting really, really bad. So the nurse that was taking care of him, not the plastic surgeon, but the nurse was like giving him shit. She was like, oh, it can't hurt that bad. It can't hurt any worse than the friggin' tattoos that you have on because they're all covered in tattoos. So the guy put a hit on her and killed the friggin' nurse because she talked shit about his penis botched job.
God. John, oh my God. Matt's going to have to...
He's not talking, though. This is like what you do, Nick. You will be perfectly fine. And when it's your turn to talk, while you're talking, you mess with stuff. And it's like, I can't edit that out now.
The old chair that was so squeaky.
I would take the chair back.
Jesus.
Well, that chair is older than my relationship with Nicole. 14 years old. It's still good. I just need to get the WD-40 it. It's comfy. Very comfy.
John, you look real confused about your mic.
Oh, it's just not showing a whole lot of static on there. Like, I think my gain was turned down.
So I told Nick I wouldn't do this to you, but I am going to make you feel a little better about yourself because you need it for this episode.
Oh, boy.
So last episode was our New Year's episode. And on that, you told me that my mic sounded a little hot.
Uh-oh.
So I turned it down. And then I looked at the kind of the wavelength on the bottom, and I thought to myself, John's stupid, he doesn't know what he's talking about. So then I turned it back up. So then I went to edit it, and it was an abomination. My audio has never sounded worse. I was so pissed off. If I just left it the way you had told me, I probably would have been okay.
Yes.
So Nick made me promise not to make you feel good, but I figure we're going to just end up shitting on you the whole episode anyways. So why not start on a high note for our first episode of the new year?
I'm racking my brain as to what I've already preloaded this with that you're going to rag on me, and we haven't even talked about anything yet.
We've actually been really quiet about this game. Like we haven't really talked a whole lot about games in a long time. Like we've been pretty hush-hush about stuff. It's I today, like I was doing my notes for this thing, and I just sitting there, and it was just I don't want to fucking do this. It's like everything that just seems like more work. It's like I don't want to do more work. I eventually got over it, but it's hard to get back up and going because I don't think we have touched we haven't touched a game since November. Maximum Carnage was our last game.
Yeah,
give you guys a break.
Yeah, it's tough getting on the pony, getting back on that horse.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of, you guys have any pickups? Okay, well, hold on. Might as well kick the episode off.
Yeah, kick the episode off.
All right, so welcome back. John, you're doing YMCA and it's distracting. Welcome back to another episode of Spindash Retro. We've got to be like, what, the 50th favorite retro gaming podcast. 150th. We're like we've taken a break, so we're definitely plunging down the list,
plummeting.
So I'll take that. I'll take 150th best retro gaming podcast. With me today, of course, are my other co-hosts, Combo and Cube. So,
that kind of fits, I guess.
Do you know where I'm going with that?
Yeah.
I can't remember which one's which. I don't know who the goth girlfriend is, but John, you would be the goth girlfriend of the two.
I'm pretty sure Combo is the big dude.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm going. Me and John are going to the gym tomorrow.
Something went wrong. Please try again.
What?
Siri, what?
Siri. Apparently I said something.
Please
yes, sir,
again.
we are. We are, man.
Either the gym or the comment about John being a goth girlfriend set Siri off.
Well, I was watching a reel today, and it showed you how to have an automation action occur when you do something on your iPhone. So this guy, when he plugged his phone in, it would go, "Ooh, yeah, daddy," right there. And it would say it in the Siri voice. So I got a little creative, and I'm going to plug my phone in and see what she says tonight.
You got that all. Can you do it to somebody else's? Like, could you do it to Rory's phone?
Yeah. I gotta get in the menu.
All right. Actually, John, Matt, so before we started this episode off, I told you Hentai vs. Evil was $45, $50 on eBay. That's for a straight hard copy. If you want for a digital copy right now, it is discounted to $6.99.
See, here's my problem with that. I think it's not worth it unless it's the physical. Unless somebody can scroll through your shelf and find a hentai game, is it really worth the money? You're not going to play it.
Place of prominence.
You would definitely play it, Matt.
Here's my problem. I don't play games that are good. I have so many unfinished games. I don't play games that are good, let alone hentai games for $59.99.
So are you saying for that this game has a possibility of being good, so you won't play it because it is good?
No, I'm going to say, you know what? It'll probably trash, and it'll be the one game that I complete all year.
So if I gifted it to you where I say, hey, I'm buying this and I send it to you, you're telling me you wouldn't download it?
Well, yeah. I mean, at that point, absolutely.
Okay, good, because it's a purchase that's going to be happening for both you guys at some point.
Jesus Christ.
I'm not going to play that.
Well, speaking of purchases, you guys got any pickups? Might as well start the year off.
Nick?
Yeah,
I do.
Nick, we're all looking at you. You're the one who's
I actually
succeeding.
had a few purchases. I purchased a Game Boy Advanced. It came with 2 games. The first game being, what was it? It was just a crap shoot of a game. Jeez, I forgot because I don't even have it with me right now. Oh, let's see. I took a picture of it and I sent it to you guys.
Wasn't it like Harry Potter?
Yeah, Harry Potter Sorcerer's Stone. I actually have played that. Actually, I had that for the Game Boy Color. Funny enough. And the next one was Dragon Ball Z, The Legend of Goku. I also had, because of the Game of the Week, it brought back some memories.
Okay.
A very game that I was very fond of. And this game has had those vibes of this particular game I played. So I actually, for the Switch, I ended up purchasing Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2.
Nice.
And I've been playing that for the last few nights.
Sweet. I'm glad you got the GBA.
Yeah.
That's gonna, so I got plans for that. Yep. So my plan is to put a IPS screen in.
Yep.
Also, I'm going to, because I guess there's also problems with the speaker of it crackling. So I'm going to put a speaker mod into it as well. And then I'm going to put a rechargeable battery with a USB-C charging port.
Oh, so you're going all in. You're going the full.
Well, I figure it's worth it. I mean, I could do it. I did see that there is a cheap mod where it's just plug and play.
Yeah.
Where you can just buy the screen. It doesn't actually need modifications at all. You literally just plug the screen in and up and go, and it does everything you need. So I was thinking of maybe doing that for the time being. Then I'm like, if I'm going to do it, I might as well do it right and just have it all done. Because I'm getting a new screen, I'll probably also get a case that's already, or a shell that's already retrofitted for the new screen as well.
Yeah, I'm glad you're doing that too, because it's always that I think some of the mods you have to cut certain parts of the shell in order to make it fit. So yeah, I think when I go and I do this too, like I'm glad you're doing that. That way you're not cutting an original shell. You're just
Yeah, and I'll just take the shell, pop it in, because I really actually start wanting to get into doing mods. So if this one works out really well, I would not have a problem just investing into, parts, buying like part machines on eBay and lots, and just repairing them up, modding if need be, and get them going. Just do a little side biz.
Bold move, Cotton.
Yeah, I just picture myself with a little Dremel, like trying to bore something out, and it just shatters.
Fuck. You got anything, John?
I bought, I think that controller. I don't know if that was the last episode. I got an 8-bit DO. Bluetooth controller. So it works on the PC and the Switch, and I think whatever else. It's pretty good. It's shaped like the PlayStation. Got the Nintendo colors. Some guy selling it for like half a retail or whatever. I think it was.
Sweet.
Yeah. So that replaces the Xbox 360 controller that I was using to play stuff on emulators. Because my kid dropped it and like half the thing's fallen off. So
Viking funeral.
Yeah. So it's good being able to jump to the Switch if we need to with another controller. And then I got, Metroid Dread. That's been pretty tough and interesting so far. A lot harder start than most Metroid games, I think.
Sweet.
Yeah, you die a lot. And I got The Witcher 3, and I bought Knights of the Old Republic on the Switch.
Sweet.
So, stocking up. And that's it. No retro stuff.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. Like I told you guys last time, and I don't think it was in yet, but I told you my whole story about buying the Xbox controller for Charlotte and Charlotte hating the original Xbox. So I kind of like, So I bought that. And then for Switch, I got Shin Megami Tensei 5, which I've been talking up hardcore. That game's fucking awesome. That game is awesome. Like, I don't care how weebish it is and how embarrassed I would be if someone walked in on me playing it. It's fucking awesome. Like, that was a great game.
It's funny how you say weebish. The only person that's actually judging you is you and John.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why I'm giving John any power over me, but yeah.
Because probably in the gaming community, you're just like, oh, okay, yeah, he's playing that. That's a good game. But like the judgmental asshole John is, and you're judging yourselves because you're a mask. You're judging yourself because you're a masochist on there, and because John has a hate for anything that's Japanese animated.
Anything like 2 standard deviations away from anime, and John's just voming himself.
If Matt and I start trading barbs, it's just like we throw all the guns at each other on the ship, like 2 friggin' pirate ships coming together and just blasting each other, and we sink. So it's never a good battle because we both know each other's like worst flaws. So we're just trading nukes.
I see just Matt, you're just playing this game and you just have a belt and you're just lashing yourself for every time you smile, every time you have enjoyment.
Oh
John
my God.
said no. John said no. No,
Japanese
sorry,
schoolgirl.
John.
No Japanese schoolgirl.
If you were looking on your back right now, there's just blood scars just going up and down.
The dude from Angels and Demons just punishing myself.
Oh, he was bad.
He played too much. He played too much Shin Megami Tensei. That was his problem. Yeah.
Didn't want Tom Hanks to give him shame.
Tom Hanks coming in there telling him he needs to, I don't know.
Reevaluate his life.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, my last pickup, so we can move her along a little bit.
Yep.
I got Metroid Dread. The seller, his whole saga. I paid full price basically for an American version. They sent me the European version, and that pissed me off. So I'm fighting with the seller. If I'm paying full price, I better get what I want. Like, tell me it's the American version, and then sell me the European one, because the labels, that OCD, when you line them up, the European labels on the side are centered, and then the American ones are like to the right or to the top. So I just no.
I remember we'd get drunk and try to rearrange our labels for all our games and movies and stuff.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to get into the game of the week? Because we're 30 minutes in, and I'm gonna have to do some cutting.
Yeah.
But hey, what's it say? Again, the game of the week got me into this, and I'm pumped you suggest this game. But at the same time,
well, hold on. The game of the week, we haven't introduced that. We should say it like Professor K. Can we do a Jet Set Radio?
Could you stop playing with that radio, Lord? I'm trying to get to sleep. Could you stop? Could you stop? I'm trying to get to.
John's deaf again.
oh,
I did like his voice a lot.
He was the best. Professor K was awesome.
It's not it's Jet Set Radio in Japan.
Jet Grind Radio in America.
In America.
Yeah. That was one thing I was going to address is the label for this when I put the episode out is going to be Jet Grind Radio, because we are in America. So that's how it's known to us. But like,
are we? Because sometimes I feel like we're in another country.
Well, I have to get through this episode without Fed posting. I need to start. I have to make it through an entire episode without threatening to guillotine somebody. So don't send me down that path. But no, I don't know about you guys, and you guys can talk about how you knew of this franchise. But I became aware of Jet Grind Radio, because I played the sequel, Jet Set Radio Future, and I fucking loved it. So I'm working backwards and going back and playing the original. So that's the viewpoint I'm coming from. What do you guys know about this game? Any experience with it?
Besides ads, that's the only thing I remember. I just remember seeing it and like, oh, that looks really cool. Like the graphics look really good. And I'll say the graphics even now are still very cool, because how they did it, I think was very awesome that they did as well as cell shading. Yeah. But I was like, hey, something about this had a very similar vibe of another game that I remember seeing. And I was like, oh, that looks interesting. Not a game I'd play, but it still looks interesting. So this was actually similar lines, because actually the one of the people that developed it, see if I can find it. Do you remember, where is it? I saved it in my notes. I can't find it now. I had it. Do you remember there was this, I think it was for the PlayStation, where it was like a DJ, like animals?
Parappa the Rappa.
Yeah, Parappa the
Rappa. Yeah.
That was inspired it. Yeah.
I remember seeing, I'm like, because when I was filming, I was like, this feels very similar to something I remember seeing other ads for as well.
Yeah, and that started the whole cell shading trend, I think, right? This one really.
I think this was the first cell shaded game as we think about it. But I think style wise, it's funny because when I was reading about this game, I'll just jump to it and then we'll jump back to our thing. But like, it was inspired by the visual style and like the pop culture style of Parappa the Rappa, mixed with like this anti-authoritarian style from Fight Club. Like Fight Club inspired this game.
Again,
if someone told you like this game is Fight Club plus Parappa the Rappa, you can kind of sit back a little bit and it's like, okay, that's not that's not a bad description for this. I can kind of see how that works.
Yeah. Yeah, the rival gang thing, not so much, but like, yeah, the anti-establishment is for sure.
See, when
Man, that
I
a
was
weird combo.
when I was playing this,
Did you
I
have
got-
it, John?
Yeah. I had this. I got it way back when the Dreamcast Exodus was happening, so I think I probably paid like $7.
Do you still have it?
No, Dreamcast. My whole Dreamcast lot, I traded for an Xbox mod and a bunch of games way back in the day. Yep.
See,
I know.
I did remember playing this. So I did play this with my buddy from high school because he had a modded Dreamcast. Because he had it modded over in Japan. So he actually had a Japanese Dreamcast modded with all the Dreamcast games.
Did he do like a region mod and then he was just burning it or something? Or
Yeah, so he had burned games. Yeah, he had a bunch of burns. He didn't have own any games for it. He just had a bunch of burns for it.
Yeah.
So that's how we played it. I remember playing this as well as we played Capcom versus Marvel.
Yes. I'm so happy this is our first real Dreamcast game. That's not really true because we played Episode 1 Racer, but I'm so happy we're moving into the Dreamcast because I fucking love this system.
There's not much on here.
On Dreamcast?
There really isn't. It's not a huge catalog considering.
Nick, it's about quantity, it's about quality, not quantity. I went on the wrong road.
Almost went down the wrong way.
I went down the Wii road or the PlayStation 2 road.
Yeah.
So
I will say that, yeah, Matt, I agree with you.
So the vibe I got from this was actually, I ended up watching it, was Hackers.
I could see that.
Yeah.
When did that come out?
That's what I'm looking actually right now.
This game,
like, I felt like, well, you think 2000s, I think, was when rollerblading was becoming really popular. Because I had a set of rollerblades. I think I remember watching the Disney movie Brink, along with Hackers. So Hackers came out in 1995. And
this game's like a time capsule. Like, if my kids came up and they were like, what was the year 2000 like? I wouldn't say it's like this, but this is kind of what the year 2000 felt like. Like, this was the attitude, this was kind of the music, the kind of a hip hop, kind of funk, kind of
outfits, dude. The outfits in this game.
Yeah, those guys are all wearing Jinkos.
Oh,
Jinkos.
Yeah.
Did you ever have a pair of Jinkos?
I did.
No.
I didn't have the big wide, the huge ones that like dragged in the mud and then ripped and then looked like shit. That was you, the fucking monster pants.
So it was weird because I had rope tying around because I was so skinny. I was 6'2" and barely 150 pounds. Like barely. I think I just made because that would be my. Actually, I think it was like 140 pounds, 6'2" in high school because I just went into high school. So I just remember my cousin gave me a pair of his Jinkos. They're kind of already tattered, big old pockets, and just trying to run in those, and end up using my shoelace to tie at the bottom so I could actually ride my bike.
How'd you ride your bike with that?
Just you tie around. You take your shoelaces and it said tie around your your jean leg so it keep it in.
I have this image of like this 6'2" like beanpole wearing like a dress on each leg, wrapping it around the gear of a bike and getting flung off it.
Happened a couple times. I mean, I was also into rollerblading. I rollerbladed quite a bit.
We used to play street hockey. That was the big thing. Like, we go up Sundays up in the parking lot up at the school. Like Justin, we were big into that. We'd go up there, a bunch of guys, and we'd drag our goals up. We'd order pizza. They'd deliver pizza up, and we'd be playing, street hockey and eating pizza. It was awesome.
That's pretty legit.
That was 2000, but like this game felt like that. It was awesome playing them. Like it's like going back to that era where we were that pre 9/11 era where things like we still felt happy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wasn't. I was surprised. I don't watch many documentaries, and I watched Woodstock '99. I've been talking about this to you guys for a couple of days. Like, what a culture shock and throwback, and just it was just a weird compilation of trends and music. Like, what was that? Like the Limp Bizkit style.
You had your
rap
raw,
rock, like a new metal
yeah.
kind of.
New metal. That's the word I was looking for.
Corn.
Yeah. Oh, and just angry.
This didn't have that though. This was a lot more like hip hop kind of.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what other things like a Jurassic 5 kind of sound. I have one of their things.
Oh, I get you on that one. Yeah, the soundtrack is the best on this game. It's just all random, catchy. I think they produced a lot of their own music.
I have a theory that the reason why the sequel will never appear on any console and it's just stranded forever on the original Xbox is because fighting over rights about the music. I think that's my tinfoil hat conspiracy. I don't know how the hell they rescued this one and got it because they re-released the game. So this game was released in Japan in June 29th, 2020. We got it here on Halloween 2020, and then Europe got it in late November. So all around the same time. I can't remember where I was going with that. I had a nice segue in my head, and then I was thinking about Halloween, and that really screwed it up. But but yeah, so on the US end of things, it was called Jet Grind Radio. Everywhere else got Jet Set Radio. There was, I guess, Jet Set. There was either like a copyright or trademark issue. So they,
could be.
Whatever it is, they got over it for the sequel, which is interesting.
Yeah.
The game was published by Sega, and it was developed by this company called SmileBit. You guys ever hear of that company? That
is rare. No.
It was.
How many do they have?
They've got some great games, but they're kind of they were basically like one of I think Sega had like several of these like autonomous units. And it was basically like, here's a group of people. You just go off and make a game. We're not gonna, get into your business and just do it. And I guess this one was really kind of sports heavy, and they branched out into other things. I want to say they had maybe like 100 employees. 25 were working on this, and all of them were under the age of 25. And the guy who was directing it didn't have any experience.
Nice.
They developed a Panzer Dragoon Saga.
Yeah, so some of the people on this were coming over from, I think it's Team Andromeda, were the ones that did the Panzer Dragoon. So it's like this really cool mix of people all working on this game. And this, I think the guy that headed it up, he was responsible for like develop and research on the Saturn. So they just basically said like, here you go, here's a unit, go nuts. But this group would later go on to make like some really cool Xbox games. Jet Set Radio Future, I think, was their first one. Then they made this game called Gun Valkyrie, which is kind of weird. It controls funky. And then Panzer Dragoon Order, which is awesome. Like it's such a great game.
I watched some videos of that because you've been talking it up for so long. It's funky.
It is an awesome game. Like if you like Star Fox, like the Panzer Dragoon games are right up your alley.
Yeah, they did tie it into that in a couple that I saw.
And then like this company basically was like a flash in the pan because in 2003, Sega kind of reorganized stuff. They, I think, put a lot of their weight behind Xbox, and then Xbox didn't really take off.
Yeah.
And in the US, it was huge, but worldwide, I mean, who else? I mean, you're going to have an Xbox in Japan? No.
Yeah.
No, it was also as big, like Sony was its PS2 was there. The Xbox really, I don't think, took off until the Xbox 360.
Yep.
And even then, I think it was still more US based than
US and Europe. Yeah.
Yeah. I do. When I was agreeing with you earlier, it was that the Dreamcast and the Xbox in this like 2 to 3 year span, they had a lot of unique kind of games, and they didn't have a lot of the licensed stuff, which is good because how many times can you make a Disney game over and over?
Yeah.
Or like, yeah. So it was cool to see the Dreamcast had a lot of odd ones and diamonds in the rough, I guess. I'll try to find another one in this.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to go and find a hidden gem, I feel like the Dreamcast is a great place to look because there's so many weird games on it.
Yeah.
And
I feel like Dreamcast was a lot about fighting games too.
Yes.
And I think
that
that was
over that Capcom, yeah.
Well, I think what it was is because I think it was just the fighting games were so popular over in Japan at the time. I mean, you have your Street Fighter, you had that type of. I mean, look also what they had into it is if you look at like Marvel vs. Capcom, look at the style of art that they're in. It's anime based art almost.
And I think the hardware is similar because Dreamcast is similar to for some reason I think Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was like Naomi. Don't quote me on that. But you figure I think it was similar to the Capcom board, so that's why you get like Third Strike, Street Fighter. Yeah, Dreamcast had some sweet fighting games.
But, and the controller actually worked for those fighting games really well.
Yeah.
And I think that's what helped out with this. This game, like John said, was awesome as far like graphics on point. I think it worked great.
How would you describe it? So, like, if you were to run into some person on the street, what would you describe this game as?
Second cousin of Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
John, how would you describe it?
Or like a comic book version of like skating or that type of game.
I don't know. I want to say like an arcade game because it felt, that guy, he was always jazzed up and it was level by level, but you could pick different things here and there. It had a linear progression to it and you did the same thing every time. So, I mean, as far as like a style, I'd say arcade.
Yeah. So I would describe Jet Set Radio as like an arcade based skating graffiti game. That's really the best I could come up with. Like I would tell somebody it's similar to Tony Hawk and then not like Tony Hawk. I went into it expecting Tony Hawk and it really wasn't in the sense that you're not doing tricks in the same way that like a Tony Hawk. And it does have some of those elements of Tony Hawk and that like you are jumping and doing tricks, but as the game's title kind of suggests, the game is really more about grinding on things than it is doing specific tricks.
Yeah.
So that's a huge part of the game that like everything has an edge or there are a lot of edges in a lot of the surfaces and like you're designed to like grind up these things and like you can grind on rails. Like everything from Sega at this time had you grinding on something. Like Sonic picked up the ability to grind around this time. But yeah, like the game's designed so like you can grind and then you'll jump on walls and then jump onto other walls like some kind of ninja. Like it's nuts. But yeah, as far as the tricks go, I think there was like a stretch where I was like, well, this is kind of a bummer. I'm not in love that I can't do all these cool tricks. And then I kind of got over that and I came to this is kind of an arcade game. And then that kind of picked it back up for me. I'm like, well, I guess I came in with my expectations weren't what this game was.
Yeah. I had a tough time trying to complete the missions and get like the style points with the tricks and all that stuff. That was a difficult compilation or like addition to it, So
explain how that works.
Well, you had, conflicting styles, I guess is what I was trying to say. Each level you had a goal to tag over or on. I guess in a couple of the levels you have to tag your rival gangs with spray paint. So you have to go and do a bunch of graffiti in different levels. And there are a ton of things for you to grind on, and you could position the joystick to do some tricks while you're doing it. And then that gave you some more points. So I think to unlock the last portions of the game, you have to hit a benchmark on each level. And there might have been a couple of things along the way that you could get. but you had to not only complete the mission, but you had to score high enough style points.
I found so coming from the sequel, and I'm going to say that a lot. In the sequel, there is no time limit, and in the sequel, you don't have to do the gestures on the big things. Yeah, I did not like the gesture based tagging. So what happened is like when you end up like these like at the big graffiti signs, you would have to like move the joystick in different directions, like up and then down, rotate it around, rotate it back around, like a half turn, full turn. Like, and what I found is like it made it that my joystick on my Dreamcast was starting to go, but I never could get it on the first try. It always felt like I was fighting the game to get anything done on this. So as I'm going through trying to tag all these things, I'm getting shot up by the cops, and it's miserable. I didn't like that system at all. So the two things that I hate the most about this game, would be I like kind of like the free exploring, tagging different things, exploring the city, doing all these kind of tricks and, but then the time would constantly screw with me because I was like, oh, well, I've got so much time and I'm directionally challenged. I can't find my way around the city and find all the time. So I'm constantly going back and forth to the map.
I will make it as they do. I can see them run about the town. I can hear them all sing. Listen to the music. Listen to the music. Yes. They have changed the same old scene.
Yeah, Nick, what were your thoughts?
So, I went in this fully expecting to have that Tony Hawk vibe as far as doing tricks, then just had the added like kind of bonus or that sprinkle on top of tagging stuff.
Yep.
And I didn't get that. I thought the tricks were it's completely random. It's literally all you had to do is press a button and you do a trick. The jump feature was horrible because you had to hold it longer, so it was hard to time your jumps. So I kept on going back and back into an area if I had to jump on top of a roof because I had to make sure I press and hold to get the higher jump. So I just thought something like controls wise is just a little janky on that. As far as there was no real way to really move your character like if you had to.
Yeah, that was one of the things I ran into with this is like the jumps were really floaty. Like you would go and like you'd press that button and it felt like you were in the air forever. And it's like once you were up in the air, it was really hard to control where you were going and where you were going to land.
I think just that lack of like, oh, okay, I want to do a trick. Like let me do a grind here, and here, and then do a jump over and tag. Again, also like doing the gestures to tag some places, especially once like the cops came out. Like it got so frustrating when those cops came out because it was like, oh, this guy can shoot me. I can't really do nothing to him.
I will say, and I know I said this a lot, but in the sequel, you had a much easier time taking down the cops. I know that you could bump into Onishima and knock him down and spray paint him, but I don't think you could do that with the other cops. Like you basically just had to skate around and jump, and it was a real pain in the ass. In the other ones, like in the sequel, you could hit like a boost button and knock them over, and then when they're on the ground, you could spray paint them and then they disappear. So that's how you took care of the cops in the other games. But yeah, in this game, like I don't know what you had to do other than just like jump to shake them off and hope like more cops didn't show up.
You still had the other cops coming after you. And then obviously, like you said, the time frame, like you had to do this like in like, it was 10 minutes you get, I think, for per level. Was that?
I can't remember because the countdown was like, wasn't it like 900 seconds or something crazy? Like it was in seconds. The whole thing was.
Yeah, it was in seconds or something like that. So, but with that, because like the first level, it was perfect time for that. Like the first level, like you didn't have such a large area space, and it was easy to find all the places you had to tag. When you got to the second level, is a larger space, and you're like, okay, where do I tag everything?
Yeah.
Because like there's all these little mini places you had to tag, and you had to find all the places that your rival gang had to tag, and tag over it.
Yeah, and they would go back sometimes.
Yeah,
and tag
the
your
second
shit
level,
again.
yeah.
Yeah.
I found that. I'm like, oh, so I was like, I never got it.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, I did like the fact that the game did teach you how to do everything ahead of time. Like, and that's how you also gain your team in a sense.
It's
But
kind
I
of like
didn't
horse.
yeah, I didn't see
Yeah.
didn't see any benefit of using one over the other. Realistically,
Some could hold more cans, and they were a little faster, I think.
I kept beat the entire time.
yeah, the
Yeah.
main character is pretty much I kept.
He was the most well-balanced.
Yep.
So, yeah.
I love the names like beat, gum, corn, combo, cube, pots. You know, the names are cool, and that like the gangs are really cool name too. Like
Oh, they're
the Love
funky.
Shockers. Those
Yeah.
are the goth girlfriend that John could have been, and never was. Poison Jam, like those like fish looking dudes.
Yeah.
And then the noise tank, and everyone danced. Like the whole game, like they get introduced, and everyone is just
They're
dancing.
just always moving. Yeah. Yeah, that
I
was
feel like
pretty
they're
funny.
like they're all on E and they're at a rave or something.
A theme party. It's a rave theme
Maybe
party.
the cops are the good guys in this game, and it's really just we're looking at the world through the eyes of these like mollied out skateboarders that are tagging the city.
Nice, clean Japan's getting wrecked.
I do like the pirate radio aspect. I mean, the story's ridiculous. Did you guys follow any of like the plot, or did you just skip over it every time?
No, there's a record that is being sought out by everybody because apparently if you play the record, it summons a demon. And the
I
evil
didn't
corporation
that.
is trying to get their hands on
makes
it.
sense for where this game came from. Let's be honest.
yeah.
Complete understand. But did not know that. I just kept. I mean, I liked I actually kept the game on in the background just because I liked the soundtrack so much.
That hum in the loading. I was doing that. I was bopping around doing that.
John's just at work.
Yeah. That's a nice
I'd
melody.
go around because when you start the game up, you click on it goes Jet Set Radio. I would do that to Cam. Like he'd just be sitting there playing with his blocks. I'd walk out like Jet Set Radio. Professor K his ass.
Fucking kids gonna be.
My kids are gonna try so screwed
Kids
up.
gonna be traumatized. He's just like just shaking, just Tourette's in every time he hears Jet Set Radio.
He develops a tick or something like that.
Yeah. He's going to, later in life, he'd be like, oh, so that's why Dad said these things. Because it's all the video game cliche things that you
I'd
say.
go and I'd probably play. Yeah, and the other problem is neither one of my kids are gonna like this game. It's just a fact. Because like Cam, I've just been yelling Jet Set Radio at him for no reason for weeks now. And then Charlotte's like, I want to play Sonic. It's like, no, we're playing Jet Set Radio right now. Oh, I don't want to. I want to play Sonic. So it's just nothing but disappointment over at our household.
I think the next really bright and flashy game that we have, we should jot down notes on what our kids do while we're playing it. Like if they came in the room.
Oh, I don't get to play this game with my kids at all. Any of our games, I tried.
This
really
game's
do.
tame though. They can't. I mean, we've played a lot worse. You know this.
No, it's more or less because I have no room for the
Oh.
TV. I don't get the TV until like after everyone goes to bed.
Gotcha.
Have them off to the side. Play it on the laptop.
Oh yeah. Oh no, because then they're using tag. I mean, we're not allowed to have electronics out when the kids are there. Yeah, we have TV going, and so I've been trying to introduce video games with them. So I introduced them to like Mickey's Castle Illusion and stuff like that.
So one night I'm in here playing this game, and I have the volume cranked up because I love the soundtrack. I listened to the soundtrack to work today. It's such a great soundtrack. But I have it cranked, and in the other room, Charlotte's trying to watch some stupid kid show, PJ Masks or whatever. So she comes in, she chewed me out, made me turn down my game so that she could watch her show. Just shamed me for playing this freaking game.
Oh,
She's literally a walk-in embodiment of her mother.
Nikki doesn't have to do anything because Charlotte just takes over for her.
yeah.
Little fucking deputy.
My daughter's doing the same thing now.
Oh shit! What are we? Controls, Nick. You kind of started us down the controls being a little janky. I had that same.
I mean, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't. So one thing that I thought for when this game came out, the camera wasn't actually bad.
Oh,
I feel it wasn't.
That was tough.
It wasn't horrible. Like there's games where like it does not correct. Like correct. At least this game says, "Hey, to correct it, just do this." Other games don't do that. Like you don't have no way to correct, and you literally it gets stuck in that way. Then you're just looking side view, even if you're going other ways. Like the camera angles don't change at all. So the camera wasn't bad. I think the lack of controls is what killed this game. As far as like when I hit like your jump or your ollie, I shouldn't have to press and hold to get a longer jump. Like maybe just hit it or once or something, or double tap something to do it. If there's a meter or something to even at least get in gauge of okay, how long do I have to hold it to get the best jump? Just something to initiate and show what that jump looks like, or that that trick. I also have the ability to kind of choose your tricks. Be if you're going to do like one button commands for a trick, have it so like you press select to, or press like the two buttons, because there's some also buttons that are on the controller that don't do anything.
Yeah, it didn't use the buttons. I mean, it's very limited because you figure you have the button that you press to tag things. You have the stick to move. You have jump, and then you've got the other trigger that kind of gives you the speed boost.
Yeah. So it was like I think you literally didn't. You still had like 4 or 5 other buttons you could have used in some fashion. Like press L and up to do, or L button to do a grind. Jump, like do something where it gives you like do a grab move, just something where I think it would have been more benefit if it gave you the ability to do those, as well as some way to also fend off against besides fend off against law enforcement.
Yeah,
like I felt like it was like, oh, you got a whole bunch, you can't do anything, you can just keep on trying to move and hopefully you get away from them. But then your health bar gets tacked down so much that you're like, oh, well, it's pretty much useless. I might as well start the whole level over. Also, I think maybe would probably help with this, kind of like what Tony Hawk did, is once you completed something, it stayed completed if you next time you go around and try to tackle it. Instead of having to do it all over again, especially if you tag, like when you get those larger levels, you had to go back and re-tag everything, try to remember where you tagged. And I was just like, oh, this is there. I think I made it the 3rd level, and I'm like, you know what, this is dumb.
I kind of came at the same way you did, Nick. And again, all the things that I didn't like about this game, like if you would have picked this game up in 2000, this game would have blown your fucking mind. Like the music, the visuals, it's huge. It's huge. We have this problem of like we're coming at it the wrong way. We're coming at it new. The controls haven't aged well. I came at it from playing the Xbox game, and literally everything we are bitching about right now, the Xbox game fix. Like, Nick, you can't really do the tricks on that, but there is this whole mechanic of like you could flip frontward and backwards and do different things. So there is kind of a flipping, but no more gesturing when you do those big things. The game doesn't work that way. And that you're just like, if you've got a big graffiti thing that you've got to tag, it'll have multiple tag points. So it's you just passing it by and doing a big thing. So you're not sitting there, pushing the stick up and down and rotating it and then failing and then having the cops show up and shoot you and then trying to restart your tag and then getting shot. And that's done. That's gone.
There were a lot of elements in this game, and a few of them didn't stack up right.
Also, I think the map could have been better too.
I'll give him a break on that though, because I mean, this had to have been one of the, I guess if you're calling like what, a 3D open world, kind of like a city concept, this had to be on the earlier end of it. I don't know when Shenmue came out. I would think this is before Shenmue.
After this.
Yeah. But it had to have been early. I mean, when did Grand Theft Auto 3 would have been after this as well?
Yeah. Because GTA 2 was still top down on the Dreamcast.
So, I mean, for open world, you figure on a console, this was pretty early. I mean, it was post Body Harvest, but we know how that didn't work.
Like, I think if they fix everything, that means they must have then at some point listened to like, oh, people really didn't like this aspect. Let's fix it, which is good. So, like you said, we're also coming from there. If I were to play this, like I said, this game literally would have been a 9 out of 10 if it wasn't for the controls. Like, the music's on point. I think even now, graphically, it holds up. Like, you might have to do some rendering, just a little bit, updating. But other than that, it was pretty on point.
That's a benefit of these cel-shaded games, because Wind Waker really hasn't aged all that much either, honestly. That style has just, and I hated that style. Like when Zelda went cel shaded, I fucking hated it. But I've got the benefit of 20 years, you know. So now I'm looking back at this stuff, and it's like, well, you know, that probably was a good decision because this game is gorgeous.
Yeah. And I don't think we look at it as it's like that old, because there have been cel shaded games all along, and they all have that similar look. So it's not like that's going to be worse than GoldenEye or something.
Well, with that said, I wonder if that's why a lot of game companies are doing the cel shading. Like, they're looking for how to get the most longevity out of their games.
Yeah.
Because you think a lot of games now, too. Well, they have that retro feel. Well, you think a lot of games now use that cel shading. A lot of your fighting games do that. Like they did the cel shading with Street Fighter 4.
Yep.
That came out on Xbox. That's cel shading, but
I wonder if it's easier to animate.
I guess
that's why they did it.
I guess it was really hard for them to do the cel shading on Dreamcast. Like it was a new technique that I guess was kind of on the rough side, but I'm sure once they could do it on the Dreamcast, it's easy enough to replicate everywhere else. I mean, like Beautiful Joe was one that comes to mind on GameCube and PlayStation.
Yeah.
But I wonder if they pick it because like visually it's as a game, you figure it's high contrast. You have like thick lines that outline, you know, your people. So it's like very easy to see. It's highly stylized. It's like how you get a cartoon. It's like playing a cartoon.
Or a comic
book.
Yep. Yeah. No, this one for me, if you would ask me back then, I would have been like, man, this game's great. Like I played a good deal of this before my Dreamcast kind of fizzled out. But going back, the controls, I probably said this on a few other episodes, like, I hate the controls. It's because when we go back to single stick games, it's a pain in the ass. Because I got so good at stuff with dual sticks. Like Halo, I was pretty good at Halo. And to not have that, it just jars me.
The camera, I mean, it helps you because you can center the camera, but not having the ability to kind of, and I can't remember how the Xbox One does it. I'll have to go back and fire that up. But yeah, it
wasn't, like I said, as far as the camera, they did a good job of how the camera worked.
Yeah, you could still get some tricks in.
I was playing, you know, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3, and I was like, camera like gets locked up here and there. And I was like, but this one wasn't that bad. Like I said, they gave you ability to fix it, which I thought was great.
Yeah. I hated the time limit. I know we already touched on that, but a game like this, let me explore. Let me do my thing. I mean, you don't have these
either that or shorten or decrease the map size.
I watched a guy beat this game in 35 minutes. Because I sat down. I didn't beat this game. I did not beat this game this week. And I was feeling kind of bad about it. I'm like, man, I've put maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours in this game. I'm kind of bummed I'm nowhere near where I need to be. And I'm actually not that far from the end, really. I mean, you've got the 3 regions of the city, and you keep going back to these same 3 regions. I can't remember what they are. Benton is one. Kogani is the other, and I can't remember the third one. But you keep going into these regions, and there's a fourth region once you deal with the. So I wasn't far off, but yeah, you could beat this game in 35 minutes.
Wow.
If you memorize the maps.
Shibuya.
Yep.
Shibuya.
And I like the what's the other thing I don't think we touched on is what are you called?
You're the GGs.
Oh, you're Ruddies. You're Rudies. Sorry, Rudies.
Rudies. You're a Rudy. I was like, what is this? I'm like, is that like a poor translation over when it came out of the US?
No, I
Rude
love
boys.
the slang. Like this game is just like dripped in slang.
Yeah. The guy that does the voice for Professor K has been in a lot of stuff.
Get out there and tag them nasties. Get them nasty boys.
Yeah. Just burn your house down.
Yeah, Professor K was pretty cool. So he was like this like pirate radio DJ that was around the entire game. And he would like narrate what was going on throughout the course of the game. So as you were doing certain things, like as you were going in and like dealing with this gang here or this gang here, you know, he would say, he would basically talk about what was happening. Like he was this all present force in this game. And it was really weird, but it worked.
Like the little sayings that he had were great too. It reminded me of like GTA where they'd have the radio going for you.
You know, speaking of like GTA, we really didn't talk about the cops a whole lot other than like how to escape them. Like you had this one cop, Captain Onishima, and he was like this guy with like a 5 o'clock shadow and slick back hair, and he's constantly running around shooting at you. And that's the thing I like about this game is like, yes, you have this like gang warfare that's breaking out, and all these gangs are trying to like take over different territory in Tokyo. But then you've got the cops running around shooting at all these like teenagers spray painting things. Like talk about an overreaction. So like one of my favorite parts in this is like when Captain Onishima, like it's near the end of the game, he calls in the friggin' tanks. He's like, I don't care what you do, get the tanks in here. It's like, Jesus Christ, you're calling in tanks to take care of kids doing graffiti? Like this is nuts. This game just drips style. And I think that's the problem with a lot of it too, is like the controls are just a hindrance, but you almost kind of gloss that over because the game has just got so much style that it's like, I'm going to try to look the other way.
I can see them making this like a series too.
I wish they did. The fuckers made 2 games. I mean, I guess you can count the Game Boy Advance port, but they made 2 games and they like, Sega, what are you doing?
Yeah. They had a unique style to this one, man.
Like I think it could also be like I haven't done any research. I wonder if they made like this into like a comic series or something, or like a animated show, because it could be that.
Yeah, it would be. You've got enough cool designs. The design work is just so cool. I don't understand Sega. I don't. I want to just. I would love to meet a Sega person, like a Sega exec. Like, explain to me how you're sitting on fucking gold and doing nothing with it. You have incredible IPs, and instead you just choose to like puke out a Sonic game every year. Like, give me fucking something.
They don't want to put it out on another system. They're waiting for them to get their own system
They're
again.
waiting for everyone to die off so they can come back.
That's what they're gonna do. They're just gonna wait till the companies that have, they license everything out to, like, yes, just keep giving us money until you all die. And you know what? It might happen.
When the world ends, there'll be 2 things: cockroaches and Sega.
No, I think I would not be shocked if you see in 5 years, I will say the next consoles that come out after this last set, you see Sega be like, here we go. Just drop their big fat right there.
The Sega Neptune.
Nick, if Sega came out with a new console, I would get Sega tattooed on my ass. That's never happening.
Sega, I know you don't listen to this, but please, just for the sake of this happening, do it.
Soldier Boy, use your
He's already
clout.
bought Atari. He can buy Sega next. He's working up the chain.
Come on, man. Yeah.
shit. Well, do you want to know the ranking on this one? Or do you guys have anything else you want to talk about on it? Let's rewind it. Anything that we...
No.
I
got
missed the
nothing with it.
Dreamcast. I'm glad we're playing it again.
I would do an entire year Dreamcast if you let me, but Nick would eventually would...
Yeah.
His Nick bleeds blue, but not that much blue. The Sega, he'd eventually be like, we gotta move on, guys. We can't just play Dreamcast.
Oh, the Saturn would break my bank hard.
Yeah, I've been playing some stuff on Saturn, on emulator. I Saturn's a bitch. Explain. I don't understand. Saturn is such a bitch to emulate, but Dreamcast emulates like a charm. It's beautifully smooth.
This ran perfect on my laptop.
I remember ripping games from my computer and just popping them in the Dreamcast on a DVR.
You're the reason why Sega died, John. Like, look what you've done. This is the world you gave us, John. You're like that guy that like went back in time and stomped on the butterfly, and then ruined the world or whatever.
And then
I'm gonna start a Reddit page now. John destroyed Dreamcast and Sega.
Have you seen that?
We wouldn't have the Xbox Wars. We wouldn't have the Xbox versus PlayStation. It would have been
just
Sega.
that one guy. Straw that broke the
Have you
camel's
seen
back.
that meme where there's like this utopia and someone subtitled, headed, puts a heading on it like, this is what happens if something had, this is what happened if John wouldn't have burned Dreamcast games. We could have been living in this futuristic society in peace and harmony.
Yeah.
John caused world hunger by burning Dreamcast games.
The end of the world.
Oh, fuck.
So I literally just typed this in. I'm like, will there be a Sega new console? And the first thing that popped up was Sega Dreamcast 2.
It's called the Xbox. The original Xbox is the Dreamcast 2. Sega, I guess, asked Microsoft if they could get it to play Dreamcast games. And it was something about how Microsoft did its online, which was the deal breaker. Can you imagine the alternate universe where you could play Dreamcast games on your Xbox?
That'd be nuts.
That'd be a game changer. Can you imagine? I mean, the Xbox really is the Dreamcast 2. I mean, you look at, again, you got Jet Set Radio Future. You got Gun Valkyrie. You got Panzer Dragoon. They put Sonic Heroes on it. It got Toe Jam and Earl 3. It got Outrun. It got 2 Outrun games.
Got a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, the graphic didn't change. Did it really? A little bit?
Xbox was a powerhouse for its day.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't feel like the graphics difference from Dreamcast to Xbox was as much as another console bump might be.
It's kind of a mid. Dreamcast is kind of like in between PlayStation 2 and N64. It's kind of sitting visually in that.
Yeah, it was like a step year almost or something.
Yeah. Which is a shame. I think they were trying to abandon the Saturn as quick as they could because that thing was just it was mistreated. I used to think it was a piece of shit. I'm now walking it back and saying it's a pretty cool system.
I had one, but I think I only had like random games for it. Like I think I played Virtual Cop on it. And like those style games. I think I had a couple of those type of games. And that was it.
We didn't get a lot of the good games anyways. Like it was a powerhouse in Japan and we got nothing off it. So all right, let's do the order. So we'll start off with John. We'll work our way backwards. John, you told me that this is number 20. So to make sure I have this correct, you want this between Resident Evil and Star Fox 2 on your list?
Yeah.
Nick, you said that this was in between Resident Evil and Crystalis, which puts it in your number 19 spot. I put this in between Silhouette Mirage and Battle of Olympus, which puts it in my 21 spot. So on our list, I believe this averages out to the number 20 game. So it is sitting comfortably between Crystal and Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. Pretty, we're not too far off.
I said that's pretty nifty that we were pretty much on the same wavelength of where we put it.
Yeah.
Yep. There's a 21, a 19, and a 20. That's the most we've ever agreed on this show. Which
Wow.
maybe we needed to straighten things out after we shit on John for an entire episode about putting Final Fantasy Tactics at like the second bottom slot or something.
Oh God, the game gods are killing me. on that one. I hope they
I'm gonna
punish you
put it
hard, John.
further
for
because
that.
you made us play fucking Dragon Balls.
Oh, John, that's just the balls. There is the tip we got to go to as well.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah. Well, it took an hour and a half.
That's
time.
good. That's good. I figured
Yeah.
Nick's warming up. He needs to get onto like the Donkey Kong Country episode where he just like dick joke, just throwing dicks.
There weren't a lot of bananas to entice him this time.
But he picked Donkey Kong 64,
there is.
so we're gonna go through that again this year. That's going to happen.
Nick
Bigger
is
and larger.
Donkey Kong.
Dickapalooza.
Why the fuck in Donkey Kong 64 didn't they do the 4 characters from the Donkey Kong games?
I think the best question you could ask is why the fuck in Donkey Kong 64, and then just leave it unanswered. I find we'll get to that one.
Wait, you never liked the game?
Dude, it's a
not
fucking
good.
collectathon. We're gonna do some bitching that episode.
I love the game. It's one of my favorite games. The 64.
Oh, Nick, it's okay.
Another
It's okay.
year shitting on Nick's dreams.
Just look at the pretty flowers. It'll be quick. It'll be quick.
It has the best console too.
No.
The see-through green.
Oh, he's jonesing for that fucking.
I think about
yeah.
N64 as a whole. No.
We're gonna put you on that TLC show where people fall in love with objects, and yours is just gonna be a jungle green 64.
Pulls out the expansion
It is-
slot, and there it is.
It's a beautiful console. Like, I hate the standard like, I go down and John, thank you again. But God, do I hate that ugly gray tone piece of shit.
What is this,
thing.
the fucking Soviet Union? Can't we have colors and happiness?
It's so dismal looking.
Everyone
Like,
before that's gray. I mean, come on.
no.
The Super had pink.
What? There's no pink Super Nintendo, was there?
No. The little button, the pink and the
Oh,
purple. On and reset. Yeah. Well, mine faded to pink. One of them did because it sat in the sun.
Mine looks like it's been a smoker for 20 years. It's nasty looking.
Exactly.
Yellow.
It looked like
Why
John
did half of them?
John
fucking
gave
yellow?
me mine, and I'm pretty sure it looks like he took it into a car and just clam baked a car and just took it out.
That's the backup console. Nick, I could give you a Dreamcast and a regular Nintendo, and I would have supplied the majority of your consoles.
Well, wait, I'm pretty sure I actually am getting a Dreamcast if I don't make you play a
No.
title.
You can't say a word for the rest of your life is the problem. You have to make it your entire life and not say that. And as soon as you say the word tactics, you have to give it back.
No, not the word tactics. I can't say the combined with other things.
That's not. I will check the notes.
We gotta go listen to the tape, man.
I know.
Oh fuck. Well, do me an announce what I'm going to make you guys play next time.
Oh
Let's
yeah.
do it.
So, after we just got done spending 20 minutes shitting on Nick's sexual fantasies of a green N64, we're going to be playing Donkey Kong. No, we're going to be playing another jet game. So we're going to be playing Jet Force Gemini. It's a game made by Rare. It's a game that I thought John was going to have us play when he was talking about killing bugs on the N64.
Oh.
And then he just like pulled the carpet out from us and just shit on us.
Yep.
So, N64, Jet Force Gemini. Next game.
All right.
How much is that bad boy selling for right now?
I don't know. I haven't even looked.
I think it's in the teens to
Take a
20.
look.
It's not that valuable.
I think I got mine for like $12. But
Yeah. I got mine from the smoker when I got that lot of like 8 games that I had to deep clean 3 times.
It is
So I'm the only one without a copy.
Yeah.
$9. Oh, it's Japanese. Sorry, that's not going to work for you. Lowest price.
She's Google Translate.
So we should do that. Oh my god, can we do that for an episode? Play a Japanese game and
Oh shit! I should have
holy
opened
fuck,
my
that's
mouth.
hysterical. Do an RPG. Well, I
can't wait to see the butcher translation.
I cast squiggle line. $15, Nick.
Solid.
All right, we're doing that.
Oh, yeah, and I think we're gonna have to cross post, Matt, on some form of our social media, my fantasy football punishment for you.
Oh, you're gonna announce it?
Oh, I'm putting it on your Facebook.
Oh no, I don't get on Facebook.
Well, your friends will, and that's what matters here.
So what are you going to make me do? So give us the backstory of what we're doing and why we're doing it. And
so we're all in a fantasy football league together, and every year Matt and his lovely spouse stop checking about 6 weeks in and then go, oh, I never checked that. And it's because their team sucks. And so Matt to this day says my punishment a while ago was one of the funniest things he's ever seen for his spouse that lost. And then I followed it up as a consultant last year. I didn't win, but my little cousin asked me what he should do. And so I gave him a creative idea, and it again pissed his wife off.
She's been to Saga multiple times, right? Or was last year the first year? 2 times.
2 times. She's been twice.
Nick, you've been to Saga once, and then you quit, and now you're back.
Yeah. I was the only one doing my punishment, so
that's fair.
That happened again this year. We tried to do a weekly thing, and it stalled. I want to
do my punishment, so I'll quit another year and come back another year later.
I just need a year where people don't go out on COVID. There's nothing more annoying to me than picking my lineup. In addition to dealing with injuries, dealing with half your fucking team coming down with COVID. I'm like, well, this isn't fun. Fuck this. But John.
Yeah, they just blip off for a week. So Matt's sentence this year will be left up to a public choice.
John, that's weak sauce.
Of 4 options. Oh.
Okay.
So the one with the most votes will win.
Do we know what these are?
I'm not going to tell you. It's going to ruin the shock factor. It's nothing illegal, and if it's not feasible, then we will go with the next most popular answer, and then so on and so forth. If we have to whittle it down, we do. But you're a pretty easygoing guy, so I feel like you do these no problem, unlike everybody else.
Nick did a good job wearing a tutu.
Nick is also one of the guys where this would work for you too. The other people would be like, I can't, no. Or I think one year somebody had to eat an onion. It's
how hard is it to eat an onion?
You got to be more creative. You got to think long term. Now mine are long term because I've seen more and more things on social media about fantasy football punishments, and it got my wheels turning.
Party D did watch 2 Girls, 1 Cup.
Yep. This kind of thing gets John so hard.
I think that I should open up. My cameo will be give me a backstory about your fantasy football league and who lost and your relationship, and I'll call for the punishment.
John, I want you on a cameo now. I want you to make a cameo count now.
50 cent.
All right.
50 cent payout.
No, $1.
$1. This weird facet of my brain that can put random things together that are weird and funny. And especially if it's somebody else. Like, I can make somebody else do something. I don't know. But there are some good ones.
Well, I will stay tuned. And we'll have to announce whatever you're going to make me do.
All right.
Well, this was a fun episode, guys.
Nick, do you want to take us out?
Yeah, let's go out. Thank you for joining us on Spindash Retro. Please follow us on social media. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok now.
Oh God,
Yes,
I
yes.
haven't. I keep getting notifications. What is? I haven't even looked at it.
I posted. Oh well. Until you have a chance to look, then you're not gonna know. So Spindash Retro, same for again Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. You can also listen to us anywhere you listen to a podcast. So we are on, and I actually made a TikTok of where you can listen to us as well. See, Matt, trying to help out with us, trying to get us
What a
followers.
worker.
So, yeah. So please give us a listen. Please leave comments. Please let us know what we can do better. And if it means having to kill one of us, we will do it. Until next time, good night.
What the fuck?
Wow.
Shit got dark.